Hello, Katie. My name is Mohsen I'm the hiring manager from ABC Automotive, and I would like to introduce myself. I've been in the automotive business for almost 18 years. I have worked all the way from being a designer, all the way to being a manufacturing engineer, and all the way to being a manager. And part of our interview today, um, I would like you to introduce yourself and could you tell me about yourself and experience in the automotive and manufacturing sector?
Sure. Very nice to meet you, Mr. Alriashi. So most of my experience has been as an industrial engineer. I have worked in both logistics and manufacturing. And then I also have some experience as a production supervisor and quality engineer. So kind of a big scope of stuff that I've covered so far. Um, so for manufacturing specifically, I've worked at a stamping plant and currently I work at an optics assembly facility. And I'm very interested at this position at ABC Automotive. I did have a chance to review some of the company's visions and core values on the website. And I think they align well with me as a person.
Excellent. Thank you, Katie. Could you describe me a time when you identify a problem in the manufacturing process and how did you address it?
Sure. So this is a recent example, and it's not necessarily a problem, but it was an inefficiency in our process. Um, for one of our production lines, we have a nitrogen fill and vacuum process that has to occur, and this was a very manual process that involved the operator turning air valves and turning them off and setting a timer and making sure that they completed the right amount of cycles. And to fix this, I used programming to automate the process basically. So all the operator has to do now is press a button, wait for the cycle to go. They get a green light and it's done. And so this provides them with time to do other tasks simultaneously while they're waiting for that cycle to complete. So saving us time on the production line.
Okay. Another question, can you give me an example of a time when you had to work under a lot of pressure to meet a deadline, and how are you able to manage that situation?
Sure. So in my current role, I'm responsible for updating bill of materials, which is not normally a time sensitive or pressing issue. But due to inventory activities that were going to be taking place, our ERP system was going to be locked. So we only had a day to complete this. So I had to work with different departments, sales, R&D, and accounting to make sure that we had the correct materials on the BOM. And then also make sure that it got uploaded to our ERP system within that day time frame. And I managed this by obviously collaborating with everybody, making sure we had the right information, and then also prioritizing this against other tasks that I was assigned, and also reviewing with my manager to make sure he knew that there was going to be some delays so that this could be completed, and that he was okay with that. And then also I worked a few extra hours just to make sure it got completed on time.
All right, excellent. Actually, that was going to be one of my follow-up question as far as collaboration, and I think you address it by this whole scenario. Next question. What CAD level do you have experience? I mean, as you know, there's so many software in the market from CATIA to AutoCAD to SolidWorks. Do you have any experience in any of these CAD or any different CAD do you have?
Yeah, so I have some preliminary experience with CATIA. I took a course on that in college, and then at my current job, we use Creo. I don't use it really for my responsibilities, but I am around it a lot, and I'm familiar with the interface. So I'm able to make simple part designs and assemblies, basically.
All right, excellent, excellent. Um, what about the FME? Have you worked in that process? What kind of knowledge and background do you have?
Yeah, so my experience is actually mostly with PFMEA, so focusing on processes, but I think those skills will easily transfer to DFMEAs. So my most recent experience with that was updating an old PFMEA that we had for a production line that had undergone line balancing as well as design changes. So it was really going through line by line, addressing each issue, seeing if it was still applicable, if it still had the same ratings that needed to be applied, and then adding any new modes that needed to be included.
All right, excellent, excellent. That was
Yeah.
actually my next question, which you address it along with this one, which was what manufacturing process do you work on? Next one is as far as mentoring people, have you done this in your past experience, and how do you approach it?
So I would say, so I have mentored people. It's been somewhat informal, as I'm not in a like managerial position. But I have been assigned like summer interns for multiple years. So I'll work with them, like onboarding them, making sure they know what's going on throughout their internship. And then I also usually work with new employees, making sure that they feel comfortable with what the responsibilities are. And I guess my approach to it would be just giving them the tools that they need to complete their job and being there kind of as a support role. So if they need anything, if they have any questions, I make sure that they know that I'm there and check in with them every now and then.
All right, thank you. Problem solving experience. Tell me about a situation where you had to use the full manufacturing process to root cause a situation, you know, finding an ICA, which is interim corrective action, and also finding like permanent corrective action.
Sure. So recently we had a production line that was not able to hit their quota. So this started an investigation into the root cause of the problem. So that included some time studies to identify which operations were really causing the issues for the line. And then following that, some more root cause to figure out what was going on the line or what was going on the lines. So we identified that there were an extreme amount of reworks happening on the line. So then we did more root cause to figure out, okay, why are these reworks happening again and again? And we identified poor training and insufficient work instructions as the main factors. So our corrective actions for that were working with the production team to develop and implement a more thorough training process. So I guess that's both interim and
Got it.
permanent.
Got it. Got it. Okay, cool. So
Yeah,
basically, your ICA is your PCA.
yeah,
So yeah,
for
interim
that. Yeah,
corrective
for that
action.
case. Hmm.
Got it. Got it. As far as sheet metal and stamping, have you worked in that area, or have you ever interact with the metal in any way?
So like I mentioned, and there's a little bit more detail in my portfolio with my resume. I do have some limited experience with stamping. When I was production supervisor at the facility, I did not oversee the stamping operations, but I was around them a lot.
Got it.
So I'd
So
say I'm
you
familiar,
have some
not an expert.
exposure. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. All right. Um, Last few more question in here. Are you able to work long hours in different shifts? And as a company, like there's a lot of travel. How flexible are you with these items?
Yeah, so I'd say my hours are pretty flexible and they can be adjusted as needed depending on what's going on. I would prefer to travel less than 20%, but I'm open to negotiation on that depending on what the requirements are.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Do you have any question for me?
I do have a couple. So my first would be, what are the biggest challenges that someone in this position might face?
Well, I'll tell you, as you know, I've been in this field for almost 18 years, and with ABC for the past 5 years. I enjoy the company. Um, Biggest challenges, I would say, is fast pace. Need to come up with containment quickly, long hours, and that's why I was alluding to how flexible you are with different hours and shifts. So that's another challenge for some people. And probably another challenge I would say working with cross-functional. As you know, you have to work with the product development, you have to work with vendors, and sometimes working with cross-functional is a challenge itself.
Okay. Um, so how would you describe the company culture?
I would, as I tell you earlier, is a very open door policy company, is very collaborative, and there is a lot of potentials in growth in this company. The company is very solid, and culture is very solid, and we have different race in here, from different countries, and it's a very well rewarding company.
Okay. And can you elaborate a little bit more on the professional development opportunities?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of potential growth. So, for example, there is always training uh, opportunities whenever you need it, whether it's learning new process it or staying with the market trend. And also there's a lot of opportunity if you are interested in the management, because I could see from your resume you have a lot of management skill. And I think once you learn a lot of these manufacturing process and everything like that, you are all of them more than welcome to apply for any management position when opportunity, offered in the company.
Okay, great. I think that's all the questions that I have.
All right. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you, and good luck.
Thank you. I look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Thank you.